So we are here at the local harvest with your trusted realtor, Vin Ferrante, the BX farmer, and I have a business spotlight. It's a new thing I'm doing with some Bronx businesses, and I'm super excited. My first guest is actually the farmer's wife, aka Sally Prisco Photography. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you, Bronx
So
Mama?
good. Also, Sally, if people don't know, you are the baby whisperer,
Yes, I am.
and we're going to talk about your business and what you do, and we'll just get right into it. So, you are an amazing photographer, and babies are your forte, correct?
Yes, that's my specialty.
So,
Newborn.
how'd you get into newborn photography? Let's start there.
It fell in my lap. I was in college. I have a degree in art history and I minored in photography. And I used to post a lot on MySpace. That's how long I'm doing this, 16 years. And one of my friends from high school inboxed me and was like, "Oh, I see you're into photography. My cousin is looking for a maternity photographer. Do you do that?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Tell her to get in touch with me." I didn't even know what it was. I went to Google. I Googled, what is maternity photography? I saw what I liked. I saw what I didn't like. I went to the house. And I always say God was blowing wind in my wings because the situation that it was like she had a 16-month-old toddler. She wanted to shoot in her apartment. And honestly, that is the hardest age. Now, if I got this inquiry today, I would be sweating until it was over. But ignorance is bliss. I had no idea that all those moving parts were a possible chaotic nightmare. But it really was so easy. He was the most agreeable baby. I got there and she still had like rollers in her hair and she was feeding him in his little high chair. And I just took my camera out and I started shooting and I put it all in black and white and it just looked like really classic. And I included those. And she was like, can you watch him for a minute while I go take my rollers out? And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's go in his room. He could show me his toys." And we went in his room and I took a bunch of pictures of him playing with his toys. And as we're doing this, he fell asleep. Like, this was really, truly God blowing wind in my wings. Fell asleep. And I was like, "All right, let's just go." It happened all so organically. "Let's just go do the pictures of you and your husband by yourself." And shooting in an apartment, I didn't even ask her what her lighting situation was. It was brilliant light, beautiful light streaming in through like a window. And
You didn't even know that at the time. Now you're saying, right,
now,
right.
yeah, now I would definitely ask. But I just went and it was all like fortuitous. I went, I took beautiful photos of them together. And then I was like, "You want to wake Mark up now?" And I got to tell you, I would never, now with experience, I would never wake up a sleeping toddler. But as I said it, his little door creaked open and he came out happy as a clam. And it's so funny because they were both sitting on the couch facing me and he just naturally hopped into their laps backwards and they just both kissed him at the same time. And I took a shot and it was the cutest thing because he's like smiling and they're both kissing him at the same time. And when I do shoots outdoors with 1-year-olds, that is a shot that I always do because of that session.
That's cool. The first session.
It was amazing. Yeah. And when I was leaving, she was like, "This was amazing. You were great. Do you do newborn photography too? Because we're in the market for that." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Contact me." I went back to Google what is newborn photography. And I was actually getting ready to go back to school. I graduated from school in 2008 when like the first financial collapse happened. And I couldn't find work anywhere. So I was just going to resort to being an art teacher. And I already applied. I got accepted. I was going to go for my master's in art education. And I went home and I said to my roommate, "I think I'm going to switch and I'm not going to go for my master's. I think I'm going to try to make a go of this."
That's awesome.
And they were like, "Are you crazy? Do you think there's enough people?" And I was like, "I do. I think there is." And at the time, there wasn't a lot of options out there for people, but I got in at the right time.
So obviously, I'm a realtor, and I always say we handle people's most valuable asset, but I think you have that
Yes.
beat because you handle people's most valuable asset, their kids. So is there some kind of safety courses you had to take to handle the kids?
So every year, actually, you know what's crazy is no, there are no safety courses that are mandated to take. But I always, every year, and still 16 years in, every year, I still take some kind of educational course. I want to say after COVID, I kind of like fell off of doing the in-person, but I always do every year some kind of online training where, I mean, at this point in time, like my safety courses, I don't have to take too many because I'm doing this 16 years. But in every course, there's always a section on safety. Like there's some poses that you do as a composite so that you don't leave the baby unattended. So that means I take a picture holding the baby with one frame, and then I switch and hold them from a different angle. I take another picture, and then I composite the two. So I take the head part of one and the arms part of another, and I make one image so that it's a more like safe shot. But
Okay, so you take precautions.
I take precautions, but every year I take a course.
Awesome. So you just reminded me, obviously, we know a lot about each other's business and we help each other because of our relationship.
Yeah.
And I always think of the story when you talk about when you diagnosed the baby and the parents didn't know.
Scared.
Like, can you share that? But that's amazing to me that's how in tune you are with the babies, right?
So I had a newborn session, and the client came to me. It was her second child. She didn't use me for her first. So when she came to me for the second, she had one pose that she had requested. It's called froggy. It's like you tripod the baby's arms and you get them to rest their head in their hands. And that was the only pose that he really fought, like blood curdling crying. But babies always cry because that's their form of communication. So a lot of times you just got to fight back, rest, soothe them, go back. And it was the only pose she requested. So I really worked hard and got it.
To try to get that,
Yeah. And so I want to say about 2 hours later, it's the end of the session. I'm doing the very last pose. And the baby was like, I put him in a crate on his back face up, and I was shooting above. And the way I do it is I always create a structure so that their head is more elevated than their butt. Their butt is on the bottom of the crate and their head is up higher. And I put him back, and I could see that this bone was kind of protruding on his left side. And he was a really chill baby. And it was protruding.
And the parents had no idea. They set the appointment. They didn't know. They didn't say anything about it.
He's 2 weeks old at this point, and it's protruding pretty big. And I look, and I never want to make a parent nervous, but like every time I would adjust him, it would protrude even more. And I said to her, "Did you see this bone over here?" And she said, "Actually, I noticed it last night. Is that normal?" And I'm like, "I don't think so. It's protruding in a way that I've never seen. I'm doing this. This was like 3 years ago. I'm like, I'm doing this 13 years. I think you should maybe take him to a doctor." And she was like, "Now you're making me nervous. I have a friend who's a pediatric physiologist. Do you mind if I do a FaceTime with her while I'm here?" And she went in the other room to nurse him. So she goes in the other room to nurse him.
This was after the shot was over?
The session is over. This is 3 hours.
Did you get a good?
I got great shots. Yeah, beautiful. She goes in the other room to feed the baby, nurse him. She comes out after doing the FaceTime, and she's like, "He has a broken clavicle. You were right." And I said, honestly, on a side note, I was like, that's terrifying, because if she didn't notice it the night before, she might have thought I did it when I was posing
That's what
him
we were talking
like
about, the
this.
safety, right? Yeah.
And
Do you carry some kind of
insurance?
Yeah.
I do. I have business insurance, but I don't.
You don't
want
want to deal with that, of course. I heard
I
the
don't
kid.
want
No, I
to hurt
of
a baby
course,
or have a parent that I hurt their baby.
100%.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So that's how in tune you are with the babies that you diagnose and stuff. I always thought that was impressive. So obviously when you start the sessions, right? So you're the baby whisperer, so like the zen and then the chaos, like from when it starts to when it ends, what is that like?
I look like I was in a tornado,
Really?
and I feel like I was hit by a truck. It's really physically demanding. Like I shoot on a cot and I shoot low. So I'm bent at the waist for the entire time. And if I have a baby that's fussy, which is a lot of them, they're
Where are the parents? Excuse
sitting
me.
right there. I have
right
a
there.
little couch that faces where I shoot so they could watch the whole thing. I'm not one of those. I have some friends that have businesses and they have the waiting room and another room. I don't do that.
Okay. So you have the parents in there.
They watch.
But
the
don't
whole
you
time.
worry sometimes the baby's going to like see their parents and kind of like want to interact with the parents?
Well, they're newborn, so they don't even know who their parents
that's true.
are yet.
So this is all 2 weeks old.
This is, well, for the newborn session, yeah, it's 2 weeks.
Is that your main?
That's really my what I'm known for, but I do everything. Cake smashes, I do sitter sessions, I do like milestones throughout
Real
the first
estate,
year.
little
I do real estate.
headshots.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Vinny who got me doing that.
Yeah, but you're great at that as well.
I always did headshots,
Yeah.
but like I started to really focus on real estate headshots once we started dating, and I did yours, right?
Yes.
I redid yours.
Yes.
Leveled up a little.
Yes. We're not going to show the before and after as part of the...
We should.
as part of the B-roll, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, you're definitely... I see you come home some days after the sessions, and you definitely look like you put in a lot of work. So, you know, in real estate, we talk about the best time to list is a house. Is there a sweet spot to take the pictures of the baby? Like you said, is 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
so
the sweet
each
spot?
session is different. So like maternity sessions, when people inquire, I send them like a guide that has like my price guide, and then I send them an FAQ. And in the FAQ, because a lot of people are sending me inquiries when they're 2-3 months pregnant, I don't take the pictures until they have a very pronounced belly. Otherwise, it could look like a beer belly, not a pregnancy. So women develop differently. So I have like a little timeline, 32 to 34 weeks if you're cooking slow, 34 to 35 weeks if you're regular. And then, if you're cooking fast, you go sooner because you want a woman in before she's
Right.
big. But it's newborn, it's always between day 10 and day 19. If they're bottle feeding, I take them a little sooner. If they're breastfeeding, I take them a little later because I want moms to get like a good milk supply going. And then everything else is kind of just really at the baby. All the other sessions are at the baby's. I always time it around the baby schedule.
Okay. So you mentioned the beer belly and the pregnancy. You're just making me laugh because people know I'm the team leader in the Scarsdale office. I see one of my agents and I'm like, I'm not asking if she's pregnant.
Never.
And she had on maternity clothes.
Never.
And I waited. I was like, how you feeling?
Yeah.
I waited for her to tell me because I've seen that happen in my
I
life.
did that one time.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I was 19.
It's uncomfortable.
And I will never do it again.
Right.
I was less than 19.
I could see the baby kicking and I won't be like...
No, I know. The
yeah.
baby could be coming out of her vagina and I'd be like...
Yeah, I'm not asking that question.
Never.
That's off my list.
Yep. I did it one
Unless
time.
you tell me.
It was terrible.
It was so funny. I was like, hey, you want a drink? I wanted to say it. Before I said
You want a
it.
glass of wine so
Yeah.
she could say, I'm pregnant.
Exactly. And she said it finally. I was like,
Yeah.
how you feeling?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the funniest or most eventful thing a baby has done at one of your sessions during the shoot? Do you remember? Do you have anything like that? Something really stood out?
How funny. AJ Mackley. I took pictures of both of his babies when they were born. Joseph, who you coached in
Yes,
basketball, is
my man.
now,
Yeah.
I think, 15 or 14.
Championship. We won the championship.
Yes.
Shout out to that team. Mario,
When he was a baby,
Bunny.
it was really cute. He was a baby. And I said, I always try to make the kids feel safe and fun. And I make a joke. And I said, how's your little sister? Are you excited about her? And he had to be about 4 years old. And he was like, eh. And I was like, she's a little poopy pants, right? And he thought that was so funny. And I was like, are you a poopy pants? And he goes, well.
That's funny.
One time I fell asleep in the bed with Daddy and I woke up. He goes, I had a dream that I was doing pee-pee, but when I woke up, I was really doing pee-pee. There was pee-pee on me. There was pee-pee on the bed. There was
funny.
pee-pee on Daddy.
Yeah.
And it was such a funny story for a 4-year-old.
Right.
He was so funny. And
That's
cute.
funny. You just reminded me, he does have a funny sense of humor because when I was coaching, I'm big. When we're up a lot of points, I don't want to run up the score.
Yeah.
And he made believe he was going to shoot a 3. And he looked at me, he's like, I got you. And I was like, yeah, that's funny.
He's got a good sense of humor.
So is there a best time of the day to shoot?
Always the morning. Well, newborns, always the morning.
Okay.
Always, because I don't know, you have 3 children, so maybe you remember they have their days and nights mixed up. So I try to always start the earlier the better. 9 a.m. is usually, I don't want to put too much pressure on parents to get to me early, especially coming out of the house with a newborn, but 9 a.m. and 11 is the latest I take them.
Okay.
And then for cake smashes, I always position it for the time in between their morning and evening afternoon nap, because that's when they're the happiest. And you need that, like I said before earlier, that 1 to 2 age.
Yep.
You really have to go at their pace because there's no negotiating or, they don't understand it yet. So They're like little tyrants.
Right.
They could come in and be angels on earth or demons from hell. You got to get them at the right time. So,
So I know you're going to love this question. Why is it, and I know this because we talk all the time, why do you feel it's so important for families to have physical prints of these stages and the newborn
I
babies?
am a true believer in the value of a tangible, printed good. Like, we're so in the digital age and we're so used to everything, just put it on social media and then you forget about it. Or it's on your phone. And I mean, it's in between screenshots and memes and work memos. Like, it's just digital clutter that I know when I was a kid, you know, I'm dating myself, but I was born in the 70s. We printed everything. So when I was a kid, me and my cousins would go through boxes of photos and we got to see our parents and what their childhood looked like and look at us as babies and remember the birthdays. And it really helps solidify your memories. And without that, like, things are fuzzy. Like, I remember my birthdays based on the photos because it kept such a vivid memory in my mind, right? And I feel like the kids today, parents don't do that because everything is online. And I think it's important so that you can really keepsake your life.
Love it.
Really.
Yeah.
Especially the happiest, most celebrated moments, like the birth of your child or a baby turning one,
Yep.
or, you know, a family session that you had when the kids were 5 and had missing teeth. It's nice.
Great. I knew you'd like that question.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is the number one mistake parents make when they try to do it themselves and they take pictures at home, and then you would give advice to the people who are trying to do it at home?
So, lighting and angles.
Okay.
So I remember during COVID, from March to, I couldn't work until July. So from March to July, I had a bunch of babies that were booked and I had to like refund them their deposit or they could put it towards a later session. Thank God 100% of my clients put it toward a later session.
Right.
I didn't really have to refund, but I was telling them, like, put the baby in a basket by a window with their head pointing towards the window, the top of their head towards the window. And as long as you have good light coming in through that window, you could get decent photos.
Right.
Don't take the pictures from above. Go low, head on with the baby so you can see their face. And those are the two pieces of advice that I can give a person that doesn't know what they're doing, is using an iPhone or maybe.
You've always got me to pay attention to the lighting now.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause you're
I know,
always
whenever we're driving somewhere, I'm like, do you see this light? Look at the way it's hitting the building. Look at the way it's coming through the trees.
Yes. And
yeah,
now I
all
see
about
it
the
too.
light.
So I see at home all the work and the effort you put into the editing and what goes on behind the scenes to make the pictures come out the way they do. Is there a different part of the job that people would be surprised to know is actually the hardest part? Like, what would you say is the toughest part of your job?
I think in a session, getting like the tough cookie, the really extra shy, introverted child or husband, because a lot of times husbands don't want to be there for the pictures, right? And not that they don't want to be there. They're uncomfortable. They don't feel comfortable in front of a camera. That to me is the hardest. Getting them to trust me and relax. Getting them to trust me is not the hard part because I just crack a bunch of jokes and it right there, boop. But getting them to relax once I pick the camera up. Because once I pick the camera up, it's back to business.
Yes.
And when I finish a session where I had like maybe like some stiff parents or a really introverted child, and at the end of the session, we got to that magical moment where everybody just forgot that I was there at my camera and I really captured the love of the family. That is really hard, but it is so rewarding that it's worth it.
Right. That was kind of the answer to my next question. I was going to ask you, is your favorite part to it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Favorite part.
When you get everybody.
Cracking the little tough cookie.
Okay.
Yeah. I have one client whose daughter is like extremely, extremely shy. And she loves me. For some reason, since she's a baby, they have kids that are like 16 months apart. So they came to me for the newborn for the second one and hers. But she was 16 months old and she was extremely shy. And by the end of the session, she was like snuggling me, and they were trying to make her leave, and she was crying. She didn't want to put her shoes on. And they're like, I'm shocked. Like, she's not even comfortable with her grandparents. That's how shy she is. And she really just enjoyed me. And then they came back again, I think 8 months later, which that age, they don't really have great memories, 16, 17 months. But she came back
Right.
and she was like, Monkey. She remembered like
Right.
my little stuffed animal
Yes.
that I was playing with her. She
But you're
remembered me.
amazing with kids. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why that the job
I
fits
get on
you.
their level. Yeah.
Yes. Is there I know cake smashes are a big part of what you do, right? Maybe you could explain that, and maybe you want to give a shout out to where you get the cakes. We'll give some props
Jen from
to some of your
Sugared.
sets, right? And talk about some of your favorite sets and what's that?
Right. So I a cake smash is usually set for right at the first birthday. You could do any age, but first birthday is the most common. And you basically, I usually will match the theme to the parents' party. So they usually have like a pun theme, like Winter Wonderland, and instead of WON, it'll be ONE, Wonderland.
Okay.
Yeah, like or
I saw like the Biggie theme.
yeah, the Notorious One, ONE instead of BIG.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And so that's actually one of my favorites. But I usually will plan with the parent, build a set, and then I order a cake. I do everything. It's like a boutique shop. They just show up with their baby. I get a cake, and we put the cake on the floor, and we make the baby destroy the cake for the photos. And that's what a cake smash is. But building the sets is a lot of fun.
Is there any certain props that I know I helped you find where your studio is? I'll shout out to your realtor who did that. My boy Tonio. Yeah, we've got you have a beautiful studio in Country Club where we kind of grew up, right?
Yep.
And I see it's packed with all these different blankets.
Yeah.
Is there any props that you use the most or that are your favorite or not really?
Because I have so many different facets, like for my cake smashes, I really love my arches. And I actually just built a half arch for the first time. Like my last cake smash, it was amazing, love. I think because it's new. It's always like the new shiny thing where I'm like, I want to use this in every session. And for the newborns, I like the beds.
Okay.
And my clients love the beds, like little bitty beds.
Yes. You're amazing at what you do. I can't say it enough. I don't even know how you do it. Anything you want to, if you're looking to have baby photography done, this is the girl. Family photos, headshots for real estate, headshots for any business. Actually, she's the best. I don't. You want to lead anybody to your site, or you want to talk about anything you got going on before we wrap up?
Something is insane.
Yeah.
I'm doing this 16 years, and I've been doing it 16 years successfully with no website.
Awesome.
Everything is word of mouth.
But now, and you have your Instagram, right?
Yes, yeah. Instagram.
So what's your
give
your Instagram? People want to go see your work. It's amazing.
Prisco Photography. SALLY.
Yep.
PRISCO Photography.
Yes, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your amazing career and much continued success. Let's go eat dinner.
Go eat dinner.
Yeah, thank you.